The Amish are fascinating. It's hard to imagine that people are still living in these traditional communities in the 21st century while we live in a totally different world. But you will be even more surprised to see that their lack of technology is not the most unusual thing you find in these villages. Make sure you watch this video until the end to see what happens when they get a chance to see what the modern world looks like. If this is your first time visiting our channel, don't forget to subscribe and please give this video a big thumbs up. Today, we are showing you 10 facts about the Amish the world ignores. The baptism tradition. You probably know that the Amish are Christians, but the one thing that sets them apart from Christianity that we all know is their lack of evangelism and the adult baptism. Even though religion is really important to them, they think that they cannot baptize babies who cannot choose for themselves. That's why an adult has to make the decision to become a Christian. Amish usually choose to be baptized on their own between 18 and 22 years old, but to be accepted, they first need to go through an 18-week instruction period. It's really important for them to do this to be part of the community, because that's the only way that they're allowed to marry another Amish. Their baptismal vows are what makes them accountable to the church for their lives. If they're not interested in religion anymore, they will be rejected from their community and will have to leave the only people they ever knew in their village. However, before their baptism, they can still leave their village and come back because Amish respect the voluntary decision to join the church. So baptism is probably one of the most important commitments they will ever make as they make the decision to spend their rest of their lives in this community. And we think that this is what makes adult baptism so beautiful. This occasion means much more when you choose to be part of this and remember this wonderful moment forever. The faceless dolls. Some Amish toys look like they come directly from a horror movie. If you're afraid of dolls, you're not ready to see these strange faceless characters. But why do their dolls look like that? It's because giving a face to a toy is associated with pride and vanity. They don't want to create an ideal image of the human form. They also consider that giving a face to a doll would be a graven image of a human, and the Bible forbids it. Some people also have more unusual beliefs. They think that the dolls can be possessed by evil or demonic entities. The toy could then watch the child and their family through their eyes. They have no eyes, no mouth, no ears, and no hands, so they can't see. They're not able to communicate, they can't hear us, and they will never try to grab us. Don't worry, this is just a superstition, but it could still explain why old dolls look so scary. And even though faceless dolls are supposed to be safer, we think that this is what makes them even more terrifying. Maybe that's why some Amish kids play with normal dolls anyway. They are not baptized yet, so they don't really have to follow every rule. No matter what, we think that we're going to play with the toy cars instead. They're less scary. The music. Have you ever heard Amish music? If you have, there might be a problem because these people don't have the right to use musical instruments. That's because it's viewed as a means of self-expression and it would be associated with pride and superiority. They think that self-expression calls for unnecessary attention to the individual and they'd rather work together as a group, but that doesn't mean that you won't hear them sing. They love singing on different occasions, after meals, while working, in the evening, at school, and at any important social event. And most of the time, it's an expression of praise to God. Their church songs derive from the Ausbund, which is the High German songbook passed on from generation to generation. They can also sing in English just for fun as a way to pass time, for example, when they work or when they take a shower. However, you'll notice that there is no musical note. It's said that the dominant tone found in most of these songs is one of deep loneliness, great sorrow, or protest against the world of wickedness. But you will be surprised that some of them do listen to popular songs, mostly country music. They don't own an iPhone, but just like us, they can't help themselves from listening to some of the most popular hits when they're in a car. The photos. There's a reason why you don't see a lot of pictures of Amish, even though a reality show just broke all the rules. As we have said previously, graven images are forbidden by the Bible. They can't reproduce the work of God. Taking a picture could also be seen as a show of pride, which is not acceptable in their community. This is why you could see a sign asking you not to take a picture if you visit an Amish community. And no matter what you see, it's important to respect them and their tradition. However, everyone is different and some Amish are more comfortable with photography. For example, some don't mind being photographed if their face isn't shown. If you watch some documentaries, you will notice that their face is never shown directly on camera. The camera is often on the side of their face, obscured. Others think that there is a difference between someone posing for a picture, like for a selfie, and someone photographed in a natural setting. They don't have a problem with being filmed or photographed at a wedding or on a special occasion, as long as they are not posing. Some of them also don't mind taking pictures of children because they are not yet baptized members of the church. So no matter what, it is always polite to ask someone if you can take a picture of them, whether they are Amish or not. The education. Don't think that Amish are not educated. They just learn things in a different way. In each village, you can find a school with 1 or 2 rooms. Teachers are there to help children until 8th grade. Then if men want to find a job and women want to become good housewives, other grown-ups will have to teach them how it's done. This is how boys learn how to be farmers, tradesmen, homemakers, and carpenters, while girls learn how to cook a full meal and take care of the children. Just like us, they will learn everything they need to know when they are teenagers, and they will be ready for adulthood. Amish think that this education is practical because kids learn faster with their new experiences. They are also needed at an early age to do certain jobs, so their parents don't want to see them at school for too long. But they also have religious objections. They think that higher education can promote ideas counter to Christian values. Amish do agree that we need professionals like doctors in our society. However, their community is so small that they don't feel like their children need this kind of education, and they will simply seek the help of a professional outside their village only if needed. So there are pros and cons, but as long as it's their decision to live this way and they are still functional, it doesn't have to be wrong. The Ordinance. The Amish life is not as simple as you might think. Even though anyone can have the chance to join if they show their commitment to the church and are accepted by the community, they have to follow a code of conduct called the Ordinance. And just to make things more complicated, it is not written, and it is not even part of the Bible. It is simply the result of many years of history, and it can be different in each community. This is what teaches them the virtues of obedience, humility, and simplicity. It also keeps them away from self-expression, pride, and envy. Some things could also be forbidden, like public electricity, divorce, suing in a court of law, running for political office, and owning certain technologies, like a telephone in their home. After all, the purpose of Ordinance is to uphold the community. They feel that it wouldn't be worth it to be part of a community without rules that accepts everyone. But what happens when you violate the Ordinance? You will first be asked to cease the deviant behavior, but you also risk being rejected by your family and your community. But don't worry, people can always come back as long as they make a confession to prove that they won't make the same mistake again. The fashion. What people wear is also part of the Ordinance. The Amish clothing is plain and humble to make it harmonious with their simple and separated lifestyle. It's usually homemade from simple fabrics, which can make it look like it comes from the past. Women traditionally wear long sleeves, full solid colored skirts, and aprons. Some communities might even dictate the exact length of a skirt. They also wear their hair in a braid or a bun and cover it with a small bonnet. The hair of Amish women and girls should always be covered in public, and you will never see them wearing jewelry or patterned clothes. Men usually wear really simple straight-cut suits, pants, and a hat if they want to. They're not allowed to have pockets, collars, ornamentation, buttons, belt loops, or belts. This is why most of them wear suspenders. If there is one positive thing to say about Amish fashion, it's that it's easy to see who is single. That's because married men are required to grow their beards and married women wear dark bonnets. In any case, they shouldn't use fashion to show pride, express themselves, or draw attention. This is what teaches them to focus on qualities other than appearance. They might be a little too strict, but we think that some people in our society should be more like them. The wedding. This is probably one of the most interesting events in this community, and it's nothing like we're used to seeing in the modern world. We know that Amish are only allowed to marry once they're baptized, and when they find the perfect partner, the engagement is kept secret until it's announced in a Sunday church service, usually 4 to 6 weeks before the wedding. This is what they call publishing the engagement. Then they hand-deliver all the wedding invitations to each potential guest. However, Amish women don't get the chance to go shopping for their wedding dress. They have to make it themselves. And unlike most of us, they will wear a blue dress. But some communities allow them to wear any color they want. After their wedding, it will become their Sunday church attire, and they will also be buried with their wedding dress, a cape, and an apron when they pass away. As Amish don't wear jewelry, there is no exchange of rings in an Amish marriage. And stop thinking about a romantic honeymoon. After their wedding, couples usually spend the weekends visiting all their relatives, and this is when they collect the majority of their wedding gifts. And there's also one good reason why you should be happy to be invited to a wedding if you're a teenager. It's used as an opportunity for matchmaking, and future couples will be assigned specific seats in order to bring them closer. The weight. Obesity is a big problem in America, but have you ever noticed that almost all the Amish are thin? Weight problems might be genetic, but they found a way to avoid it by living away from the modern world. They might eat more bacon than you do as they enjoy every part of the pig with potatoes and pies. So their diet doesn't really explain their healthy weight. But what is their secret? It is simply physical activity. The fat genes have no effect for those who burn 900 more calories with physical exercise every day, and they can easily burn them by simply walking around around the village or working on the farm. Amish men walk 18,000 steps per day, compared to most American men who take fewer than 20 steps between their house and their car. Unfortunately, Amish housewives might gain a little weight as they simply do chores around the house. But no matter what, obesity is far more important in the modern world than it is in the Amish community. If you're looking for a new diet, maybe you should try spending a month with them. Your weight might be written in your genes, but not in the stars. Your ancestors had the same genes, but it's when our society changed that it became a problem. This is why going back in the past could be a good way to lose a few pounds. The Rumspringa. You might think that when you have always lived in the Amish community, you can't know if you want to live in the outside world or not. This is why baptism wouldn't really be a decision, as Amish don't have any other choice. But you would be wrong. When Amish teenagers turn 16, they have the chance to experiment and explore for a limited time period, usually a year. They are allowed to break the rules and visit the modern world outside of their culture to see if they would like to live in a different way. For example, they can go to the local theater or take driving lessons during this traditional rite of passage. But people notice that the new trend is now creating a Facebook profile as soon as they have the chance to use the internet. They quickly embrace modernity, so it seems like this is what they miss the most in their community. The purpose of the Rumspringa is to learn enough to help them make the most important decision of their lives. If they want to be baptized, join the church, and never live in the modern world again. However, as they are not adapted to this new world, most Amish decide to stay with their families. Are there any other surprising things that you know about the Amish community? Don't be shy to tell us what it is in the comment section down below. We love to hear what you think. And that's it for 10 facts about the Amish the world ignores. For more stories like this, make sure you watch 15 Ways the Internet Has Changed Your Life. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.